Everyone thinks he's an accountant, but he's actually a writer. It's weird. Okay, sorry.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Daniel Harmon, Chief Creative Officer here at Harmon Brothers.
And I'm Johnny Vance, and I'm Chief Creative Officer at Harmon Brothers if 2 people tie. Okay, probably 3. Disclaimer, I'm a little sick today, so my voice isn't normally this manly.
Oh, you mean how my voice sounds every day?
Sure.
Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but one of the biggest hallmarks of our ads at Harmon Brothers is nudity. I'm in comedy. Now, you may be thinking, that's not very funny, to which I would respond, you just have to try it. Just grab your shirt.
No, they saw it, and it was enough, and it has already like 1 second of screen time, and I think that is burned into everyone's mind just a little bit too much.
You are in my personal space.
And I will be back there. At Harmon Brothers, we've learned that if you want your message to resonate, humor is a great tool. Why? Because funny videos are both memorable and shareable. Why? Because people like to laugh. Geez, stop questioning our judgment.
You've probably laughed in your life, unless you're a robot or Mark Zuckerberg.
Those are synonyms.
The most important thing to realize about comedy is that even in its most ridiculous form, it's an art. It takes lots of practice before you can get good at it, like piano, but more sophisticated.
I love doing art. I love art. Arty, art. Art, 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 art.
And because it's an art form, it's not something that we can teach you over the course of one video, but we do have some suggestions of where to start.
Tip number 1, great comedy is surprising. Surprise is one of the biggest things that makes something funny. That's why we still laugh at fail videos, or your birth, or fail videos of your birth. If comedy was formulaic, it wouldn't be surprising and would therefore be less funny. Wasn't that surprising?
That was the 5th take.
But were you surprised I did it again?
Surprise often comes from breaking a pattern. For instance, in our Squatty Potty ad, we broke an established pattern of fairy tales. Instead of saving maidens and fighting dragons, our hero was found casually discussing unicorn poop and toilet posture.
This is where your ice cream comes from. The creamy poop of a mystic unicorn.
Or, instead of changing existing patterns, you can give your spokesperson caricatured attributes and then break them, like we did with our manly man in Fiberfix.
Fix it yourself with Fiberfix and spend the rest of the savings on something manly, like hunting equipment, or a diversified stock portfolio that's sensible yet aggressive enough to expect a reasonable ROI, because that's manly too.
Tip number 2, take the time to test and refine your comedy. You might consider yourself a pretty funny person because you tell a lot of jokes and make your friends laugh. But the big problem is that friends don't necessarily laugh at your jokes because you're funny. They might just laugh because they know you.
So make sure to test your comedy across a few groups, including complete strangers. The beauty of pitching comedy to strangers is that their laughs tend to be a lot more selective or brutally awkward.
Are you all right? Yes. No, you are all left.
A key to overcome bombing a joke is practice. If you want a powerful tool to improve your comedic skills, go try stand-up comedy at your local open mic.
With stand-up, when you tell a joke, you get instant feedback from your audience. Sometimes you get a great response to your jokes, and sometimes you get a tomato in the face. But good thing I love ketchup.
Oh. Even if you're not poor, I mean a stand-up comedian, still test your jokes because no matter how funny you think you are, chances are you're gonna come up with some really bad jokes. Some people think writing jokes is like an elephant pregnancy. Spend a long time creating a joke and defend it at all costs. At Harmon Brothers, we think you should write jokes like rabbit pregnancies. Write so many jokes that it's okay if several of them get brutally murdered, because they will.
So write tons of jokes, keep the ones that consistently get laughs across audiences, and lose the ones that don't. Tip number 3, research and study comedy. Now, chances are you've watched a lot of comedies or listened to at least a couple stand-up comedians. In some cases, you might have even tried to imitate the style of those comedians. But studying comedy isn't just consuming it. Next time you're watching your favorite show, every time you laugh, pause the show and think, why was that funny? When you begin to dissect and analyze great comedy, you'll begin to pick up tips and tricks that you can adapt to fit your own comedy.
There's a quote by Khalid Hosseini that says, I would give aspiring writers the oldest advice in the craft. Read and write. You've heard of chain smokers? Writers, especially beginners, need to be chain readers. Don't know where to get hooked on chain reading? Our writers recommend reading books by Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Jack Handy, and Dave Barry, as well as comic strips like The Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes, and Dilbert.
We would also add, you need to become chain watchers of comedy. Our writers are fans of shows like Arrested Development,
Seinfeld, 30 Rock, The Simpsons, Community, Freaks and Geeks, The Office, Atlanta, Home Improvement, Silicon Valley, Parks and Rec, The Good Place, and Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Regardless of what you watch, find the comedy that you like because that will inform your comedic voice. So study and practice and test and be surprising. Then one day, even you might just be funny.
Comment below with your favorite comedic inspiration and we will judge you.